Hello. We have two different kinds of pom-pom makers that are out there. If you have this kind of pom-pom maker, you do not need to watch this video. If you have this kind of pom-pom maker, I'm going to show you how to use this one. All right. So what you want to do is you want to take your two pieces and line them up together, and they open like this. You're going to take your yarn, one of your balls of yarn, find the end. First you're going to take off the paper, you're going to find the end, and you're going to start to wrap your yarn around these two pieces of your pom-pom maker. It's a little bit tricky, takes a little getting used to, but I know you can do it. I try to hold the end down with my opposite hand while I wrap with my dominant hand. So I'm gonna just start wrapping right around that arc shape. Keep wrapping until you get to this side, then you're gonna wrap going back the other way. Honestly, it takes a little bit of time, but be patient, wrap it nice and evenly, and just relax. Now I'm back at this side. I'm gonna go back again, just filling up the side with yarn. The more yarn we use, the fluffier pom-pom we will have, and that is what we want. We want a fluffy pom-pom. All right, keep going. Just when you think you have enough yarn, you don't. You got to keep going. So just keep wrapping, and you're going to keep asking yourself, is this enough now? And the answer is no, it's not enough yet. Don't worry about that little white piece of plastic. Sometimes it'll fall off, but just keep it nearby, and I'll show you what it's for in a few minutes. Okay, keep wrapping. We're getting there. It does take a little time. Be patient. It's worth it in the end. All right, now we're getting somewhere. All right, so we want it to be full and definitely a little chubby. The more yarn you have on there, the fluffier pom-pom you're gonna get. This is looking good for this pom-pom maker. So we're gonna stop right around here. I'm gonna go to the other side. Okay, now I'm gonna just take the other sides, open those up, and I'm gonna actually do the same exact thing on that side. I didn't cut the yarn, I stretched it across. You can clip it if you want, but I just leave it like that. You can do either. If you clip it, it might start to unwind a little bit, which is why I just like to stretch it across. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Whenever I do this with kids, they're like, how many times do I have to wrap it? And honestly, it really depends on what type of yarn you're using, how thick it is, how chunky it is. This is pretty thin yarn, so it does take a little bit longer. and there's no like measurement of how many times you should wrap it, but it's really by eye. So we are wrapping. And since I have made a lot of craft boxes using these Pom Pom makers, I'm pretty sure I have bought every Pom Pom maker known to man over the last month or so. So I wasn't able to get the other kind, so I got this kind, and now I have two different kinds. Some of the boxes have the other kind, some of the boxes have this kind, so that's why I'm just making this additional video on how to use this type of Pom Pom maker. Honestly, they're both really similar, but this one is just a little different. So we are wrapping. Honestly, there are so many different ways to make pom-poms. You could even make a pom-pom with a piece of cardboard, 2 pieces of cardboard. I do that sometimes when I'm teaching, but these are nifty, handy dandy pom-pom makers. I like to use them. Okay, so we're getting there with this guy. Here we go. We're really getting there. Oh, the other little plastic piece fell off. Just make sure that you have something handy, a plate, a bowl, even you can go right on top of the garbage can, because when we trim these, it really does make a big mess, and you're gonna want something to catch the fibers. All right, so I think we're about ready on this side as well. I'm gonna give it one more go around. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut the yarn here, okay? And I'm gonna put these two together like that. And that's what these little white things are for, these little plastic things. You can just snap it back on. It will actually hold the pom-pom maker, squeeze it together while you're trimming, which is nice to have. It's easier to keep these together in place while you're trimming. It's just a nice, nice little addition. Oops, okay. So now that guy is, those are like little locks. I locked them in place, and it will hold everything together while I'm snipping the yarn. So that is the next thing that we're gonna do. Before that, you're gonna wanna go ahead and cut yourself a piece of yarn that is about 12 inches long. You don't have to, this is probably a little longer than that, but you need something that's about 12 inches long. Again, I'm not measuring, I'm just doing an approximation. And it is folded over in half. Oops. Okay, so we're gonna take this cute pom-pom maker that's filled with yarn, and we're gonna start trimming. And what we need to do is we need to trim it down the center line here and on the other side. So that's what we're gonna do. You're gonna just take your scissors and start to snip open the fibers, like so. And take your time. Again, try not to cut all of them at once, because it's just frustrating and you'll end up hurting your hand. What I like to do is just snip a few at a time right on top. And once you sort of open up the top ones, it's easier to get to the bottom ones and snip those. So just take your time. Honestly, I find it relaxing. Okay, so that's exactly what you're looking for. You want it to open up all the way through so that you can see the center lines of the pom-pom maker. Make sure that when you're cutting, that you're cutting those fibers all the way and that you don't have any more crossing over. All right, so I almost have one side done. All right, ta-da! I also cut that piece that was stretched across earlier. Now I'm gonna just do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Again, just trimming those fibers right down the center. Once you get those first ones cut, the rest are easier. Okay. Now, so you see I have cut all the fibers, but then right here, there's still a few that are not cut, and you just got to make sure that they are all cut. All right, now we are going to make the knot in the center, which holds everything together. So what you want to do is you want to take that piece of yarn that you cut, and you're going to slide it in between those two pieces of the pom-pom maker, and then you're going to turn it upside down, pull up on those strings, and we're going to tie. I'm going to teach you a special knot, which is called a surgeon's knot. So you go under once, and then you go under a second time, and this is a surgeon's knot. And you're going to pull it nice and firmly in the center. Then you're going to do a double knot, and then you want to flip that pom-pom maker upside down and go back to the other side and do the same thing again, because trust me when I tell you that if you don't tie a knot in the center of your pom-pom tightly enough, it will not hold together and it will fall apart, and you will be sad and really bummed out, because if the pom-pom falls apart, that's it. You can't put the fibers back in. You have to start over. And it is frustrating, and it's just like you end up wasting yarn, and it's a bummer. And I've done this so many times, and I am here to tell you, make sure that center knot is as tight as you can get it, nice and firm, tight in the center. And now we can open up the pom-pom maker and release our pom-pom. So we're gonna take off those little white plastic doohickeys on the sides, and you can just open up, take it off, gently open the sides, take them off, and look at what you just did. Yes, you made a pom-pom. So cute, so fun. This pom-pom is a little straggly, and that's okay. It should be like that, but we're going to actually give it a haircut, and that's why we need a plate. So first thing I'm going to do is cut off those center yarns. If you're doing a different type of project, you could leave those on, but for this particular project, we're going to take them off. And you can take your pom-pom and just roll it around in your hands. What that does is it releases the fibers, makes it extra fluffy, and it helps you to be able to see where you need to trim. So I'm gonna just start trimming those little straggly bits all over my pom-pom because I want it to be a nice round shape. This one actually was pretty nice when it came out of the Pom Pom maker. It was not too straggly. Sometimes they look really crazy, but this one actually doesn't need that much trimming. So we're gonna trim it up, trim off those alfalfas, and I like to trim it and then again fluff it in my hands. And honestly, I think this is looking good. So thanks for watching. All the rest of the instructions are the same, but this video is just to show you how to use this style of Pom Pom maker. All right, enjoy.